going here. It's going to take a second to go live. Looks like we're good to go. Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming and joining us today. I am Chelsea Clarke, and I'm here with the lovely Meghan Mckenzie. She is the Director of Enterprise Sales for Crowd Content. We're going to be telling you what that is in a moment. And I'm so excited to introduce Meghan because we're going to be talking about something that I think is so crucial right now. Actually, it's a few things. It's showing up with confidence on social media and through your email marketing and your messaging, and how you can actually use real human freelancers that can actually help you to show up and grow on social media and grow your business. And just before we started the call, Meghan and I were just talking about like AI content and all of that. So we're going to be hitting on some of those notes as well. So welcome, Meghan. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks so much, Chelsea. Yeah, really excited to be here. First webinar of the year. So a little
Ooh.
anxious, but I think it's going to be great. Yeah, just a little background on myself. I live on Vancouver Island as well. Been with Crowd Content for the last 6 years, really focusing on sales, outbound sales, business development. So coming in to smaller organizations and breaking down those doors and getting those meetings and making things happen. Really having to put myself out there and not be embarrassed if stuff doesn't work or does work. So really excited to talk about how I've been able to leverage, showcasing my personality and my email outreach and social media, predominantly on LinkedIn, and then a bit about Crowd Content. This company really we started just with a marketplace of really fantastic freelance writers from around North America. And we built a platform that allowed site owners and agencies and brands to come in and order, one article or different types of content. And then it stemmed from there to them ordering more content and then wanting an editing layer, and then it's really evolved into a really self-sufficient marketplace to find great freelancers that have different experience and expertise in a multitude of verticals. And then we've also fleshed out our managed enterprise program, which is for companies that are like, we just need you to manage it from start to finish. Come in, they've got a program where they're producing, 20 plus pieces of content a month, and they need it fully managed, written, edited, QA'd, bylined, and published. So we built that really out of necessity with some of our larger clients that were like, we love content, we know it's doing great stuff for us, it's driving phenomenal organic traffic that is truly qualified traffic, and we want to explode that out, but we don't want to hire that in-house. So that's sort of on my background, and then also a bit on Crowd Content, which I can get into more later if anybody has any questions.
Yeah. And anybody too, if you have questions, put them in the chat and we will definitely come back and make sure that we have time to answer. And I want to say too, Meghan, like it's so important, this vertical that your company is in with content, because we always hear like content is king, content is queen. You need great content. You need to be, pumping out fresh content in order to rank and all of these things. And yes, it is so important, especially nowadays where, we've got ChatGPT and Google's Bard competitor and all of these AI tools that are coming out that may feel like, so I know we have a lot of bloggers here in the room today, you may feel like your career might be getting a little bit squished with all of this AI stuff that's coming out. So this is why it's always so important to work with a real human writer, content creator, and really utilize that, because this is what we want. We want to see that real human voice in content, and I think now more than ever, it's going to be so much more important. But I'll let you take it away. Tell me what you think about that, Meghan.
Yeah, I mean, if you're cool with it, Chelsea, I'm happy to jump into where I see the industry evolving with these
Yeah. That'd
AI
be awesome.
tools and what Crowd Content's doing to help support that, and then happy to get into the actual slides. I was saying to Chelsea earlier, I hate slides; they stress me out. I don't like to be gated into a topic,
Oh,
but
no,
yeah,
I
let's
feel
talk
you.
about
Feel
it
free,
because
yeah, if you wanna
yeah,
just, like, not even use them, feel free. However you want
right.
to go is cool by us. We support that.
Yeah, awesome. Okay. So Where we sit in terms of like the ecosystem of content execution and content creation and SEO is really kind of at the end in a lot of ways. We're sitting there and working with site owners that are like, we have this great, group of cluster of keywords and topics that we want to go after into that SEO organic pack, and we want to rank for them. As things evolve, we have really started to look at, uh, it's actually EEEAT now. They've added another E to that principle. And so it's really comes down to ensuring that the content is produced by a really strong writer that has the experience and understands the space, and then also the authority and the timeliness. But further to that, I think where we've sort of set things aside is, we understand that folks are going to, it's really difficult to find someone that has that expertise and experience that's also equally phenomenal SEO writer. It's like
Yeah.
this unicorn. And so, and it's, and the unicorn costs a lot of money. So to do that at on a consistent basis, so i.e. you're producing 15 to 20 pieces of content a month, even 5 to 10 pieces of content a month,
Yep.
if that unicorn is charging you a buck a word, it's not necessarily sustainable or economical. So particularly if one or two of those pieces is actually sort of driving the majority of that traffic, and therefore that revenue. So with the use of AI tools, and as a company, a lot of our clients and ourselves have looked to use the brief creation tools, like the AI
Yep.
brief, Free Got Phrase, ClearScope, Market Muse. Ink is a fantastic tool as well, where they're helping guide the writer to provide them with some ideas based on information that's already available online. It's just pulling that information together.
Yeah.
So how we view ChatGPT, which again, I told Chelsea, what I say today may not be relevant in a week because it's moving so quickly, it's evolving so fast. But I think what we really need to be aware of, and just not as concerned with AI, is that it's a tool. So at no point is Google going to be like, we're going to 100% allow AI content. I've actually read something recently that said if you produce AI generated content directly to your site, there's actually like a watermark built in the background. So it's you need to have that extra E around effort. So Bankrate recently came out with an article that was, they were very proud. It was authored by AI, but then it was edited by a real human. So I truly believe that you can use AI to help with brief creation. You can also use AI to help with getting that information there, like 40% of your article. Like use it totally. It's going to save you a lot of time. But if you're not utilizing a strong editor to fact check that information and put effort into it, you have to put relatable stories into it. And AI is never going to get there. I mean, again, I say this now. I don't know,
Right now,
right?
it's not there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right now it's not there. You have to have those relatable stories, that effort, and that experience. That's really where it comes down to. So we're all for, like, great, go and get some content generated. I don't know, Chelsea, if you've used ChatGPT 3 lit. I tried
Yeah,
to
I
use it for
use
some
it, like,
full.
every day, and I don't use it for my
Yeah.
blog posts, but like you say,
Yeah.
use it for outlines, and yesterday, I was playing around with it, and it's kind of funny. I was just like I was getting bored of what I was getting back, so the prompt that I put in, I don't know why I thought of this. I think I was, like, thinking what I was gonna watch on TV later. I wrote, "I want you to act as Colin Jost from Saturday Night Live, and you are going to write a bit that you will perform on Saturday Night Live about X." And then I put my topic in, and I said, you will perform this just as Colin Jost would perform, and it is hilarious. And there's a satirical, whatever I put in it. Anyway, said it, and what it spit out, it was pretty good. You could actually, it kind of did sound like something that would be on like Weekend Update as Saturday Night Live, but the jokes just were not funny. Like it wasn't. You
Mm,
still need that. Like you need the comedian. You need the human professional to actually,
yeah.
get it over that line there. But it was a good experiment.
Well, it's, what I'm impressed with is just the speed, like the time to execute, like where that would take a mediocre script writer
Yeah,
3 days, or I don't know how long it takes to write scripts, but like a while. I
yeah.
think that we're all really like wowed with the speed of it.
The
right?
speed of the
Like
output,
right
yeah.
now. But I was trying it because I do a lot of cold outreach, um, and I was doing it for I was like, "Oh, write me an email sequence to the head of SEO at Target Canada." And it actually and about the benefits of using human-led or human-first content creation. And
Yes.
you know what? Honestly, again, Chelsea, it did a pretty good job for me. Like, I was like, "This isn't bad." Like, 10 years ago, Megan would be like, "I'm copying and pasting this. Like, I'm gonna use this." Knowing that marketing jargon and, like, filler words just doesn't land well with
Yeah,
in email and just where things are at. I'm like, this needs a little bit of work. But I was like, hey, this is an awesome draft. This gives me like a bump. Like this gives me like a little like starting ground, a little bit higher than a blank piece of paper. So
yeah,
as we look to figure out opportunities to support these tools, um, one of them is, having editors, like human editors, really go in, fact check, and make sure that the content is written well and has that experience, and then layering it oftentimes with a subject matter expert. Two of them, they're very different roles, right? You've got just an editor, which should be bylined, by the way.
mhm,
Google loves to crawl editors as well as subject matter experts. So you've got two different human touch points on there, which is going to do like mammoth things to your content. And then that expert, you can pay them to fact check and review. You're
yeah,
not paying them to write it, which they're going to again charge you 50 cents to a buck a word. But if you're like, hey, this is going to take you 10 minutes to fact check, what would you charge for that? And I'm going to promise you X amount for the next foreseeable future. You just know then they can schedule out their time to be like, okay, this client, I'm going to do 10 pieces a month and I can get all 10 pieces done in 2 hours. So hourly
mhm,
rate, break it down from there and then do that, reverse engineer that math. So that's been how we've been able to help scale some of our your money, your life clients.
yeah,
We've got a lot of like credit clients, finance clients, sorry. The client is literally credit.com. Finance clients and then health clients, senior living clients. When I say clients, they're publishers. That's
yeah,
who we're producing copy for. So that's been really on our minds. We're thinking about it all the time. Like, how can we equip our writers and train our writers on best use practices? I'm in a mastermind group with where I met Chelsea actually, and we're talking all the time about, oh, we caught a writer. They were using AI. It was so obvious it was AI. It was totally they're not their voice and tone, and they got it done 4 days sooner than deadline. Like, there's
yeah.
this obvious signals that people are aware that if it's been generated, like we know it's like this marketing jargon stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's so
And
that's so interesting. It's such a great point, and I love how you threw in some tips right there too about how you could get an expert to fact check something. So you're not
technical.
asking them to spend days writing the article. You've already got the article, but you just want to be able to use their name in the byline that they had some sort of touch on it. And paying them, like you said too, I highly would suggest everyone listening that like that's a great investment. You can also, in addition to paying someone like that, you can offer them, like, let's say they're fact checking an article that is an affiliate review article, some sort of product in there that you are selling. You could share some of your commission from sales from that article, from that affiliate product too. You could definitely like tie that into your pitch to kind of sweeten the deal to get those experts to take the time to be like, okay, fine, I'll fact check for you.
Yeah, that's actually a great idea. I think too, there's a massive opportunity right now to take enthusiasts and hobbyists
Hmm.
and help them to get their bylines out there. So, historically, crowd content started as a ghostwriting service, right? Like companies would come in, order content, order articles. 90% of the time, people are ordering articles. They're outsourcing articles and guides.
Yeah.
Um, and that's, by the way, what I would suggest if you do plan to outsource. I know that was the original title of this webinar. Um, those are the best that we've found for folks that have recently bought a site or they've started up a business and they've got their site going. We found it tough to accommodate orders around website copy. It's like about us page, landing page. It's
Yeah.
it's harder to outsource that information to an SEO writer than it would be to write a blog or an article or a guide or a resource for pre-sale. And I want to really be clear on differentiating the two. It's a lot of folks will come to us and be like, hey, we're rewriting our whole website. Can you help us? And we really struggle with that because the instructions need to be so clear and concise that oftentimes there's no, it's a harder project for the freelancer. And they, as a freelancer, they're like, well, an easier program for me where it's going to make me more money is going to be, well, this client has 5 articles a month that they need me to write, and I'm getting used to their voice and tone. I'm getting used to
Yeah.
how they want stuff. I'm getting feedback. Whereas if you have a site that you're rewriting and utilizing a freelancer, it's usually easier to find someone, maybe on Upwork that you can charge out hourly and get on the phone with them and talk to them, right? So there's a significant difference there on the type of content I suggest, or what I've seen, to outsource.
Mhm. I love that. I'm, like, taking
Awesome.
notes as we go.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, I mean, we're about halfway through, and
Yeah,
my
yeah.
dog, hang on, my dog wants to go out. Of course he does. Hang on. Of course
Yeah,
he
go,
wants to
go,
go out.
go.
I'm just gonna open the door. Hang on.
So I think this is so cool because for me, something that I find is my biggest struggle in really showing up online is after I've created the video, it's like writing the captions. It's like spending a little bit of time sitting there and engaging and doing that part of it. But when it comes to writing emails, I find that comes to me very quickly. But what I've heard a lot from people in our audience here is they've told me that they struggle to put together an email, even like a once a week newsletter. It's just like getting to that point where that becomes a habit is such a overwhelming step to do if you're just sitting there staring at that like blinking blank page on your screen. So something like that you offer at Crowd Content, being able to help people get over that hurdle to fill them with content that you could use in your emails, I'm assuming, and you could also use as blog content. I think that's such a great and helpful resource.
Yeah, I really agree. I think where I've utilized our freelance space, coming from a non-writing background, that's not my background. I am
Mhm.
business development. It's very I've been able to find my perfect writer by trying out multiple writers and figuring out who understands my voice and tone, who understands my humor, who understands like the where that, and that takes a little while to build up. What
Yeah.
Where I see a lot of benefit with using freelancers is when they produce a piece of content, be it repurposed or from scratch from a brief, having them also add in the social posts
Yeah.
associated to that. So particularly on LinkedIn, I know that you should have at least 2 or 3 posts that link back to that particular article, and it's so much easier for a freelancer to take their own work and produce little snippets of social
Yeah.
posts for you than it is to bring in a freelancer and say, hey, create a bunch of social posts for this stuff that's already existed.
Yeah.
That's really difficult, right? It's because they've spent the time and energy to put into creating that content for you. um, I'm happy, and again, I'm happy to show you a couple of just tactics. Again, this is
Yeah.
more, I'm going to show you a couple of examples of my social posts that have done really well and shed some light on like why I think they did well.
Yes. Let's
And
do it.
then also I've got some email templates too, that I can show that got me meetings with like some pretty big companies, which is pretty cool. Um,
Nice.
but again, I think I didn't utilize a freelancer. This was me just split testing and trying and like learning and doing that. So happy. Yeah, let me jump into that. I'll start my screen.
That's great too, because once you figure out that, like you do that split testing yourself, then you kind of know what to give to the freelancer as a jumping off point.
Exactly. Yeah. So I post, I would say once a week, once every other week on LinkedIn. And it's what I've learned over the years is it's just something that's when I'm really genuinely like excited and and like it comes from a place of like I'm just so excited about what I'm posting. So this one I posted right before Christmas. I don't know if you've heard of Corporate Bros, but they're hilarious. It's a sales it's like a mockery of sales. It's corporate bros, like, "Bro, like, Patagonia, flipped collar," you know? But they're hilarious. They do some really funny TikToks. Um, Again, this has nothing to do with my business, but this is to do with my own personal brand. And I think, Chelsea, you've done a great job at building your brand. Like, I didn't
Thank you.
even, like, I knew Chelsea before I knew her business. Like, and so it's like, I think that's really important that people understand that. I think when you get to a certain level, you want it to be about the business
Yeah.
persona. But
Mhm.
when you're getting there, it's you. It's like Meghan, it's Chelsea. So for me, I'm building my personal brand on LinkedIn. So this corporate, I posted this. I love following corporate bros, sales reps, TikToks, blah blah blah. And then I I found value because I was posting a thought like that I had about it. And this one had 20,000 impressions. It was like commented on a bunch. It had like almost 60 reactions.
Nice.
Another one too, again, because I follow a lot of salespeople on LinkedIn as well, and they're always posting about their particular thoughts. I posted this about my debate on cold outreach, and I'll get into some of my sample emails after about just showing like I personally find, and this is just my opinion. Again, like I love people that have opinions because there are books that are written that say ask for 15 minutes at the end of your email. I find it super cringy. So I just posted my little thing on here and it got some great responses. It got over 3,000 impressions. It got lots of great reactions. It got a lot of comments. And I think when you are looking to establish yourself as even an expert in your space, right, is what your site is all about, you have to have some personality on these social outlets. And I think reposting, you have the option to repost an article as is, or you repost it with your thoughts. And I know that LinkedIn is going to favor folks that have their own opinions on a particular post. So I follow Lily Ray. She's an unreal SEO expert in the space. She posts some really fantastic stuff. So oftentimes I'll find myself finding a nugget within her posts or the articles she shares and then reposting it that way. And that provides a lot more like social media juice. That's just going to
Yes, that's
build
such a
up.
great tip.
And I know LinkedIn, if they didn't have it, I know they had it for a while, but they don't know if they still have it, but they give like a score, like how great are you doing on LinkedIn, right? And it's like you want to be above 80% in anything. And it's like it's really important to sort of really be engaged and commenting on, prospective clients posts, like genuine posts, not just liking their post, but going in and making a comment. And I used to always be kind of like a bit anxious and embarrassed about posting, but now I'm like, nah, all day. This sounds great. This is awesome. Sharing it with a friend, sharing it with a colleague.
See,
So,
this is so good. This is so important. I just wanna, like, mention that to you right now, Megan, because I think that's something that a lot of people get stuck with is they feel like they're gonna be too loud or too this or too that, and you're like, "No, just do it. Put
I
your
mean,
stuff
just
out
don't,
there."
a supporting environment and community is really all that matters. Just don't be a dick. Like if you can politely say, interesting perspective, like I was under the impression like this was happening, but it's just like how you say it, right? And I
Yeah.
think as writers and as people that were just constantly online, we understand when something's written in a negative tone. Just stay away from
Yep.
that. It's all good. um this, and again, I know you're recording this, but this email has gotten me like so many meetings. So I turned it into a template for you guys. This subject line wins out every time. It's just really basic. Like I know there's so many topics. And I think as a newsletter, I mean, I got to be honest with you guys. I'm never been on the marketing side around sending out mass emailed newsletters. Like that's not been my forte. So I can't speak to that. But on a one-to-one basis for an open rate and a response rate, I know that when you're looking for an ask and you're looking for something, subject lines with their company name and your company name with like double dash or an X, it works really well for open rates. Like I have a 27 to 42% open rate when I use this.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's my response rate, but it means I have a really good open rate.
The first step is getting them to open the email, and that's what your subject
100%.
line will do.
It's really important. And again, it's like there's no trickery. It's really just like your company and my company. Like let's have a chat. So anyways,
Mhm.
um I am big on solving a pain. So I am always like reviewing colleagues and acquaintances cold outreach where they spend 90% of the time talking about themselves and how great they are. I am really more about introducing who you are, and then who what point you solve, and then also who else you work with. So providing like social clout, and then the pain point you solve, and then really just like introducing them to your company. Like that's because there's two types of buyers out there. There's one that they need your stuff like now, they need it. And then 30% of, the people you're going after are, you want to be hitting those 30%. So it's like, as long as you're clear and concise and keeping it very simple and identifying what pain point you solve and that you work with some of their competitors, that's awesome. The other 30%, they'll be like, interesting. Okay. Like, I'm interested in learning more. And that's why I really like my sign off here, which is interested in learning how we did this. I'm not asking them for 15 minutes. It's fairly clear that I want to
Yeah.
work with them. Like, so
Yeah.
asking them for time on their calendar is just like again, you saw my LinkedIn post about this. This is just a personal take on mine. I find it very cringy.
I agree.
Um,
This is such a better strategy.
and then I really want to emphasize on touch points. So when I create an outbound um, sequence, or what I'm planning to do, like say I've picked 10 companies I want to go after. It's super key that you don't just give up after one, you don't just give up after two. I really think it's important that you have 14 touch points over a month and a half. So touch points look like an email, a connection request, on LinkedIn, going in, and I even see touch points as liking and commenting on the company's or on that prospect's LinkedIn page, something that they've posted recently. So these are just, it's just like little hits, like little billboards, little hits. If you're comfortable picking up the phone and giving them a call, probably not going to answer. You just leave them a nice little voicemail. Hi, it's Megan from Clarke Content. It's me again. Call you this time next Tuesday. Like, they know why you're calling. They know why you're reaching out. But this has worked really well for me over the years. Uh, and it's, again, most of the time when you are reaching out to somebody, um, they either have that pain,
Mhm.
or they didn't know they had that pain, but they're interested in learning more, or they're not interested at all. So as long as you're putting your best foot forward, you're not trying to trick them, you're not trying to like include a bunch of marketing jargon. There's so
Yeah.
many people that where I'm like, oh, I do need to solve this, but your email is so bad that I'm not gonna engage with you. Like, so it's like,
Yeah.
it's very much so. So hopefully this provides
That's
a
great.
little bit of insight. And this is another example too. This was one over LinkedIn. Yeah, LinkedIn Sales Nav. Really, again, it's almost identical about what I just said. I'm reaching out to you to introduce you to our company. We're located in Victoria. I knew he was in Vancouver, so I did a little bit of stalking, figured out where he was from. Um, we work with these companies. This is how we can help. Here's what our process looks like. Is this something you'd be interested in learning about more? We're all on our phones. We're all checking our emails. We're all checking our LinkedIns. Like, he responded in 10 minutes. It was great. But
Great.
if you are focusing on doing any outbound, or you're planning to hire someone that wants to do outbound, just know that your response rates are about 1.5 to 3%. But that, one or two meetings could result into a deal, which could pay off their entire salary. So there's,
Yeah.
that to be focused on for sure. Um, Anyways, Chelsea, I want to stop there because I know that uh, we had talked about doing this at about 30 minutes, but I want to like open it up for questions for you or questions from anybody else. I know we talked about a couple different big topics here. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was awesome. So, if
Yeah.
anyone has any questions, put it in the chat. I know the replays of our workshops are usually where it pops off. So, if you are watching this on the replay and you have a question, you can always send an email to me. Just reply to that reminder email that I sent out about the workshop, or just send me a direct email too. You can ask us questions, and we're happy to be able to reply. And if it's a question from Megan, I will forward it to her if you're not here today. I also want to say too, well, first of all, thank you for sharing those tips, Megan. That was really, really helpful. I love your tip about the 14 touch points because I think that's something that we kind of tend to forget. At least I do when I'm trying to get in contact with someone or propose working together. Sometimes I'll only send a few emails and be like, ah, they're not interested. But it would be so smart just to go like a few things on their LinkedIn, retweet some of their tweets, just be like a little Tinkerbell sprinkling around so that wherever they are on their phone, like, oh, there she is again. I guess I should get back to that email. Like it's just,
Well,
it can help.
it really helps, and I think people don't want conflict, right? They don't wanna upset you,
Hmm.
and especially if you have identified a pain that you can solve, something could have happened. Something usually does happen, and that's why they've gone quiet,
Hmm.
budget changes or whatnot, and sometimes I just literally give them the option. I'll just say, "Hey, look, like, I got you in my pipeline. I have my CEO asking, like, what's going on here. Like, I think we could offer some real value, but like, look, if this is on hold till next quarter, just let me know. Like,
Yeah.
just let me know. Please
Just
put me out of
free
my
me.
misery. Like, I'll stop filling up your inbox." And like those emails get better responses from me than me just
Yeah.
being like, "Hey, I'm just following up. How are you
And it's
doing?
so
Following up."
human, right? It's so
Super
human and it's
human.
off
Yeah.
script, right? Where people are
Yeah.
so used to just seeing the marketing, jargon script. When
Yeah.
you are really your authentic self and you just say something like that, that's going to catch people's attention anytime.
Totally. If you need to spend longer than 15 minutes on a follow-up email, you're doing the wrong thing. Because the problem is someone sees how much effort you put into that follow-up email, and they think, "Oh, in order for me to respond, I have to equally put that much effort in." Sometimes I send, like, one-sentence emails.
Yeah.
"Hey, is this still a priority for you? If not, I'll just reach out to you next quarter." And then
Yeah.
people are like, "Oh my god." I one time I sent 22 emails. Because it was a chain, right? And
Yeah.
then they're like, "Oh my god, Megan, we're so sorry. We had this huge problem. We still wanna work with you. Like, let's have a call next week." And I was like, "Cool." And, like, I just don't take it personally, but I
That's
also don't
huge.
stop. Like, I
It's
also
business.
don't
Yep,
stop,
don't take it personally.
Yeah, yeah.
That's another
Anyways.
great tip, and we all need to remember that. Even if someone reached out to you to potentially work together or buy one of your products, guys, or whatever your services that you have on offer, and then you give them the proposal or you send them the payout link and then you don't hear from them, it doesn't necessarily mean that they changed their mind. There's no harm in following up. And in fact, that's a hot lead. So, yes, you should follow up in those kind of situations. Yeah, I think that's great.
I think too, if you have their phone number, and you have talked to them and you've identified and established a bond and you've identified a pain, just text them. Call them. They know
Yeah,
what you're calling. They know what you're texting, but that's a different medium than email, and
yeah.
it does work. It and has worked for me, so and if they don't respond, then I'm not gonna keep texting them, but, like,
No, no, because then
I
that would be a
that
scammer, and
that
no,
would
we
yeah,
don't.
totally, but, like, I've attempted to do that, and it's totally worked. So,
Spam within reason, okay.
yeah.
Well, let's talk about crowd content. Let me know, more about the services that you offer, who would be a good fit to work with you, and then anyone who is interested, we do have the link on this page, and it'll also be on the replay page and the replay email so that you can get in touch with Megan and, check out crowd content as well.
Sure, yeah. So we've got 2 different solutions. I kinda touched on them earlier. I think
Mhm.
as a someone that has an established site with some content on there, they've got a blog that's going, they're either producing content themselves, writing blog content themselves, and they're looking to really ramp up their content production.
Yeah.
That's where we can really come in and help. I think that's really important when you do want to spend money on content, that you have a clear strategy, uh, predominantly around SEO or thought leadership, which, I always say hang on to that in house as long as you can, unless it's something that, we can come to the table or you can go out and find that expert to byline that content. But ultimately you want to, I mean, I would say keep keep yourselves as the expert, but also when you can go out and that's part of your growth plan for the year, definitely, come and chat with us and see. We do really well with the money, your life verticals, like again, finance, health, medical, legal. We have some phenomenal subject matter experts, and we pair them with really great generalist writers, researchers. So that's an avenue. Again, I think I also touched on the types of content you want to outsource. We do really well with blog content. We do really well with guides. We do really well with if you have direct a D2C site. We do really well with product descriptions. That kind of stuff. Where we struggle, and I think some folks struggle, is if you just just got the site or you're just starting something up and you need an about us page or you need a landing page, those are harder to, that's too personal. That's too personal to outsource at that stage. So I really feel that we do really well with folks that are looking to, they've proven it out themselves, and they may have one writer on staff or they have a digital marketing person on staff that, devotes 30% of their time to writing content, and they're just like, I'm maxed. I'm at max. We've found that this works great as a lead gen tool. Now we want to replicate this and use a trusted source. That's where we do very well. On the flip side, our managed solutions are for folks that are like clicking out, they're creating content at a really good click, and they're like, we need this to go on steroids, and we need you to fall. Here's our style guide. Here's our SEO strategy and plan. Here's our briefs. We need you guys to just execute on it. And we have a tight deadline because we need to 10x our organic traffic, which would
Yes.
result in X close rates and so on and so forth. So I I think, really happy to help in any way. I think, we can set up something if you just want to test us out. Reach out to myself. I can also introduce you to Darby from our team that oversees our marketplace. And then I handle a lot of stuff with our more managed clients that are looking for ongoing content creation
Yeah.
at scale. Yeah.
That's awesome. I know many people in our audience are blog flippers, so they're buying sites, they're working on them, they're reselling them, and this is a service that would really, really help that because it's at scale. You on your own probably can't produce the amount of content that you're really going to want in order to grow that site really fast to be able to sell it, at within 6 months or a year, whatever your plan is. You absolutely can write all that content yourself. But if you have that money to invest in your business, in your flip, why not hire a team of writers to really support you and help you in doing that? So I think that's so, so helpful. And Tam in the chat says, such useful tips in so many areas. So
Oh,
thank you so
so
much,
many. Just a jack
Megan.
of all trades, but don't ask me to write it. I'll get one of my writers to do it because I cannot write. but yeah, no, it's really a fun thing to be to be part of. I really thank you so much for inviting me to do this. This is so lovely. Great to see you,
Yay.
Chelsea, too. You're always such a ray of sunshine.
So good to see you too. And I hope that we can see each other again, either here on the island or at another conference soon. That would be really cool.
Great. Okay. Thank you so
Well, thank
much.
you again. And thanks
Okay.
everybody for watching today. We'll put the replay in an email within the hour. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.